Welcome to Jackie's Literary Corner. I'm Jackie, and I apologize if my voice sounds more nasally than usual and scratchy. Like, of course, I get back from the trip, and that's when I get sick. Luckily, I don't have COVID. We did the test and everything, so I'm good there. But now I have a sore throat. At least that means I can go to work tomorrow. But we got back yesterday from London, so that was really fun. I'm so glad we did that. I'm so happy. It was so much fun. I want to live in London, but that's more of a pipe dream because it's so expensive. And I'm not sure if I'm ready. I don't know if I could do not living close to family. I'm gonna eventually, like, if something happens to my parents, I'm probably gonna live close to my sister. And, I want to experience the adventure, but I'm also, I've always lived with my parents. So I don't know if I could ever. Part of me wants to, and it's so exciting getting caught up in the experience of being there. And so it's a pipe dream. Maybe one day I might, but who knows, or at least I want to go back there and spend more time there. But it was so much fun going there. I wish we had stayed a little bit longer. But we did like all the. I think we didn't. If we didn't do all the important sites, at least we did. I'm pretty sure we did most of them. We did. When we first got there, we just kind of walked around and everything. Didn't really do a lot. Just explored the area. We walked across. Our hotel was like, there was a tube station, which the tube system is really great. It's very clean down there. There's not a lot of homeless there. And once you figured out how it all works and everything, it was very easy to navigate. Now, of course, it's coming from someone who didn't actually have to do the navigating, because I was with my mom and dad, so I didn't do a lot of it. I just was along for the ride of, I did ask at one point to look at and try to figure it out myself, because, one day I might be living in a city, so I'll need to know what's gonna, how that all works and stuff. And now I have done one of our cities, I've done the tube station on my own once, because I had some I had internships in DC, so I sort of did it then in Alexandria, I think was the location of the other one. So I have done it before by myself. But each system, of course, everyone has their own system in every major city, whether it's in the U.S. or in other countries. But yeah, that was really, we saw Parliament and Big Ben. We did, the Windsor Castle. That was the day we did Windsor, Bath, and Stonehenge. Now, as far as tours, I think having a tour guide is important to do, because they know so much, unless you have someone with you, if you go, that knows the city and knows the history. But I think it's good to have a tour guide. The only problem is the tour we did. We had 3 places to go: Windsor Castle, Stonehenge, and Bath. But we didn't have as much time with each place. Like, once we got to Bath, we only had like an hour out there, which that was kind of disappointing. But at least I appreciate, though, when we got to spend time, explore the city, and take lots of pictures. And that's where they filmed Bridgerton, because they couldn't film it in the actual Mayfair, because Mayfair is an actual place. I got a picture of the shop, and the Modiste shop, because that as well. And there was a bookstore, but my main goal was Waterstones for the trip, because it's the big bookstore. And so I went there, and then I had already got like a couple, and the thing about England is everything's more expensive there. So I was like, I already spent my money at Waterstones bookstore. And plus, I didn't have a lot of time. Like I said, there wasn't a lot of time in Bath, so I didn't want to waste, we didn't want to waste time in one store. We went to explore the whole place, and there was a lot of food recommendations from our tour guide to everybody, so we wanted to do those. We hadn't got our fish and chips yet, so we got our fish and chips in Bath. And that's also where the Roman baths are. So we did that. That was really cool to see. So, like I said, if you're a history person, England is one of the great history places to visit. I think, one of the ones that, are making, because there's so much history, and of course they're older than us in the U.S. We crossed, the, we crossed across Tower Bridge, the, Tower, I just said the Tower Castle, I just thought about it, we didn't go into the castle, the tower, I just knew what it's called. But we didn't tour that, but we did cross the bridge. It was right outside of our hotel, along the tube station. And we did the Globe Theater, which I did that by myself because my parents weren't interested in that. So I did that, the Globe Theater tour. That was the last thing, along with the Dickens Museum, which was really cool. And it definitely made me think about how there's so many Dickens books that I gotta read, and it was like, oh, I want to read those now. And then of course there's some nonfiction. And what I ended up doing, because you want to be careful about buying souvenirs and stuff, because of the and how much he spent. So I ended up taking pictures of some of the books I was interested in, and I would look them up when I got back to the U.S. because I cannot go online while I was there. So I'm gonna look those books up. I took pictures of the covers, and one of them I might already have saved on my wish list. I'll have to double check. And so that was the last. And of course, any of you are familiar with the Beatles, we went to Abbey Road and the Apple Studios where they did the rooftop concert, and my dad took a picture of himself walking across the famous crosswalk for the Abbey Road album. So that was kind of cool. I mean, it's not, I'm not like, that was awesome, but because I'm not, like, I like the Beatles, I like their music, but I'm not like a hardcore fan. That was more for my dad, but it was kind of cool to see it. We had to walk through Hyde Park to get to Buckingham Palace, so we got to see Hyde Park. And apparently people can let their dogs roam free. I mean, of course that might be the people have well-trained dogs, because we could not do that with Murphy. He's a rambunctious, wild little boy, so we can't just let him roam free, knowing that he'll come back to us. Plus, he's a dog breed that people, we worry that people might be a little too interested in him. But we went through Hyde Park. We didn't go to Kensington Gardens, but we did go through another park, Green Park. We saw that. And let's see, like I said, we went to Buckingham Palace. It's kind of what we did the first day, along with Abbey Road. And we did a little bit of the British Museum, but unfortunately we got there an hour before it was closing, so we didn't get to spend as much time. We just went to two places. The British history that my dad was interested in, because he's into Vikings now. He's really interested in Vikings. He saw the Last Kingdom TV series. He didn't read the books like I did, but he did watch the show. So we did that. And then I was interested in the Egypt section, so we went there a little bit. We didn't spend as much time there as I would have liked. But like I said, it was going to be closing in an hour anyway, so we actually did the art gallery museum, but we didn't even get to explore it. We didn't even go in there because that was more, I just need to use the bathroom, the toilet. So we just went in there to use the toilet, and because the public bathroom it's not as widely available to do that, so we have to go into places, and not every shop or whatever has one. So that's the only reason we went in there. So we didn't really get to, and I didn't say anything because like I said, I didn't know what my parents wanted to do, so I didn't say anything. I mean, but I would have loved to go to the Van Gogh exhibit and everything. So, which I'm guessing is the same exhibit in The Doctor and Vincent, I think the episode is called, where the Doctor and Amy travel and meet Vincent Van Gogh, and there's an alien in one of his paintings. I can't remember what the alien was called, which that episode always makes me emotional, especially at the very end, the last scene at the end of the episode. I would have loved to see that, because I think that's where that is. That was probably filmed there. I don't know, but um, but yeah, there were so many cool places. And like I said, the studio tour was really fun. The Warner Brothers studio tour of the Harry Potter. That was fun. That was really cool to go there. I did get something there, which I'll show you. And there was so much. It was so cool. Just and like I feel comfortable with the idea of living there. Like I feel safe and comfortable, and it's so clean and everything, and just like I just love it. If only was it so expensive to live there. And like I said, if I was only comfortable with not being close to family, like I don't know if I could handle being so far away from family. And I doubt any of my family would come to go there, live there. I do have a cousin that could probably live with in England and still be family, but I don't know. We're not as close as we were when we were kids. She has her life, I have mine. So, but she's also someone that will probably be good if I ever wanted to go back there. But yeah, it's so great, and I just had so much fun. And the food was excellent. Like there's even if you're not into the actual British cuisine that is signature to England, there are so many different countries, restaurants from with cuisine from different countries. There's so much to try, and I loved it. Piccadilly Circus, we visited there, and we did walk through Trafalgar Square as well. Piccadilly is basically like the equivalent to Times Square, but it's like I said, it wasn't as it made me feel I was comfortable there walking around there. I mean, I was making sure I got to keep up with my parents and not get hit by a car or something. But yeah, it's just so awesome to go there finally to see the place that was in like a lot of the British TV and adaptations of Dickens and Austen's novels. See that the locations for those, and like where the location of Bridgerton is. It was just so much fun. So now let me show you what I ended up getting. Well, first let me show you. So before we left, my dad had a book function to attend where a book signing where he was talking about one of his books, his latest, Sage Among the Pines, by Mark R. Anderson. He did a talk on that, and it was at the country bookshop. So my mom's like, "Are you gonna get a book or what?" So we went in there. I wasn't sure if she would let me, but I wasn't sure she would be okay with me buying anything. But I ended up getting the third book in the what is that series called? The Dandelion Dynasty. So I have all 4 books now because my uncle surprised me with while we were gone, he got me the 4th and final book. So I have all 4 books, and I definitely need to start it now since I have all 4 books now. So that was a nice, pleasant surprise to come home because I see that and on my steps up to my room, and I'm like, wait a second, because I know I brought my purchase upstairs the night before we left. So, but I'm happy to have all 3 of these with me. Yeah. Okay. So then I ended up so this next one was still in the U.S. I got that we took the detour to Boston, which I want to go to Boston one day. I would love to explore Boston, Massachusetts, because I've been to the Cape, but it's not like we really got to explore it. I feel like we were when my grandmother was still okay and everything, and she was living with her companion, her basically boyfriend. It's sometime after my grandfather died. She was, so she caught up with an old friend from high school, an old boyfriend. So they were living there. So they lived on the Cape. So we went. I remember one time visiting them, but we didn't do a lot of, I feel like we didn't do a lot of exploring. We just were there for a few days. So I haven't really got to explore Massachusetts, And I always wanted to go to Boston, you know. And I know my aunt's been there. My aunt has been there. But we just went to we were just at the airport. We only had a few hours. So we didn't really have time to explore the city and everything. But there was a bookstore in the airport that was connected to a Dunkin' Donuts. And my mom let me get this. My mom, walked around with me there, and I got this. Ink Blood Sister, which I've had my eye on this book for a while. I've debated about buying it. And this is about two sisters. They protect their family's library. You know, they have books, they're magic books, and I think I'm trying to look at the back. Okay, so, but their father dies in a book appears that the sisters have never seen before. And it will unleash magic they're not familiar with that could be dangerous. So like I said, I've always had my eye on this book. Always been intrigued by it. So, I finally took this opportunity. Plus, I need to get a small book because, you know, I did not bring any physical books with me. I just brought my Kindle because I needed something small. You know, books would take up space and are heavy, so even paperback. So, my mom suggested I just get something small that wouldn't be as heavy on me. So this is the one, and this is, like I said, one of the ones that I have my eye on. So I got, you know, but yeah, I kept hearing a lot about it. I remember, and it's a notable 2023 apparently. So, and of course, right now I'm thinking I want to read all these books that I bought. So this was so I got that at the airport. Okay, and during this Harry Potter, there's something else in here. I'll oversee. I'll have to ask my mom if she wants that. So during the Harry Potter studio tour, so, you know, I was trying not to get a book because there were there were those illustrated classics versions of the Harry Potter books, and there was journals and stuff like that, and you know, and there was t-shirts and sweatshirts and all that, and like that was stuff I didn't need to get more of. So like the cheapest and the thing, one of the things I wanted that was not as expensive, that was a tote bag. And granted, I have plenty of tote. My mom's I have plenty of tote bags. I don't need any more, but frankly, I disagree. You can never have enough tote bags. It was the least expensive, and it was, I still gotta cut off the tag, but yeah, this tote bag. Let me see, I'm trying to hold it so you can see what's on it. The Wand Chooses the Wizard. And it says Harry Potter Studio Tour in London on the back. So I thought this was cute. The other one I was thinking about, you know, I kind of was hoping to find one that had like my Hogwarts house on it, but there weren't any. There was like the more ones that were a little bit more extensive, that were like had the Whopping Willow, and there were words that made up the tree, the tree leaves and limbs and stuff. And there was another one, I can't remember what the other one said. There was another one on there but those were a little bit more. So I am happy with this one. This was really cute, and I still had to cut off the tag. Okay, so next, and I mentioned I went to Waterstones. That is like the big bookstore in England. It's the equivalent to Barnes & Noble, and actually they partnered with Barnes & Noble last I checked. So Waterstones keeping Barnes & Noble afloat, thankfully. I really appreciate it, because I actually kind of like Barnes & Noble a little bit more than, Books A Million. in all honesty. I mean, I appreciate the Books a Million we have, but I kind of like Barnes & Noble and the aesthetic of Barnes & Noble, and plus is the Barnes & Nobles are big, bigger stores, and I could sit and get, a snack, although most of the time I spend more time browsing the shelves and finding books, and then by the time I'm ready to be picked up, which is the problem about not driving, is that you need to be picked up and dropped off unless you take public transport. So I can't, by the time I'm done browsing, my friends I'm ready to be picked up. First, my ride is there. So I don't get to spend as much time at the cafe as I would like to. But, which, by the way, you don't, like, what was nice is that, and it's a city, so of course, but like I said, the tube system is, once you figure it all out, it's really very convenient and easy to follow, and you don't have to have a car, like, unless you're going somewhere else. But, so this is Waterstones. And I did notice that there were 2 locations in London, in the city of London. There's one on Piccadilly Circus, and then there's another location. I think there's a Trafalgar Square location. Maybe not, but I do know there's another location. In fact, we passed it when we were going back to the airport when we left yesterday, or might have been 2 days ago. It's hard to, dang on jet lag. It's not as bad coming home, but going there was just so, like, I felt so icky when we got there, because we've been traveling for, like, practically 24 hours, and that was not fun. So if anyone traveling overseas, be warned about the jet lag. It's not very pleasant. It's very, you feel all disgusting, and, unless you have your toiletries with you, you can't really clean yourself up. And, which I think next time, I don't know, maybe next time I want to keep a toothbrush and toothpaste on me. If we travel, like, if we do another big trip overseas. I mean, my dad does talk about Scotland and Ireland with the 3 of us. And that time, if we go there, he'll bring his golf club this time, so we'll probably have to load the golf clubs. But, anyway, so there's 2 locations, I think, possibly 3. I mean, I did see a bookstore in Trafalgar Square that we passed by when we were walking through there. And I said I wanted to go, but I had already bought 2 books from Waterstones and spent quite a bit of money. So, and like I said, there was a bookstore in Bath when we went there, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to go, but then we only had an hour, so I didn't want to waste, like I said, I didn't want to waste time, and I really wanted to be able to take my time there. But maybe one day I'll be able to go to Bath on my own, just visit there, just spend take a trip there, because it's such a beautiful little, little town and everything. It's so quaint and cozy, and it was really cool to see the Roman baths and everything, and that's where we got our fish and chips, and it was just so fun. And that's, like I said, that's the location that they filmed the Bridgerton. So if you're a Bridgerton fan like me, definitely check it out if you get the opportunity. But yeah, so I had to get the Waterstones bag. I had to get a Waterstones, tote bag. Plus, it does cost a little bit, not a lot, like, I think, 25 quid to buy, the paper bag, but it's like, I don't know if I would keep, I mean, I guess I could keep it because it has Waterstones on it, but, I prefer a tote so I can, like, it would last longer than a paper bag. So yeah, I didn't end up, and this is a bag, and I can use this, like, going to, Gibbons bookshop or the library or something. Like, a tote bag definitely comes in handy. So I have a lot more tote bags. Okay, so now let's get to the actual books I bought at Waterstones. So first we have, okay, so I love these, and I think these are the paperback versions of the cloth-bound books. And I did have Hard Times in this edition, but it's not one of my favorite Dickens, so I ended up giving it to the Given bookshop. But I still wanted at least one. Ideally, I'd love more than one. I'd love to buy, and I could probably buy them on Amazon. But yeah, so I ended up getting Vanity Fair, so I'm gonna probably donate my other copy because I don't have the shelf space for having multiple copies of books, and I haven't read it, so I don't know if it's a favorite or not. But this is Vanity Fair by William Makepeace Thackeray, and it's confirmed that the Thackeray in The Man Who Invented Christmas is this guy. So they have he is Dickens's friend. And he is in The Man Who Invented Christmas, so I wasn't sure if it was the same guy or not, because I mean, I don't know if the Thackeray is a common name or not, but I love these editions. Like, I like the look and the look of the spines with the orange, and how each book has an image on there that's supposed to represent, an aspect of the story. So I haven't read it, so I don't know what this little diamond represents. But there is a movie adaptation. I think Kirsten Dunst. It's either Kirsten Dunst or Reese Witherspoon. I think it's Kirsten Dunst who plays Becky Sharp. Okay, so let me go read the back in case you're unfamiliar with Vanity Fair. Becky Sharp is sly, cunning, and will do anything for money and power, while her friend Amelia Sedley is good-natured but naive. In a scandalous tale of murder, wealth, and social climbing, the two women's fortunes cross paths as they search for love and success across 19th century Europe and the Napoleonic Wars. So yeah, hopefully having an edition that I really love, because I mean the Arcturus editions are really cute, and they were not super expensive, so that's why I got them. Why I started collecting them, when I was going to collect them, but then there's so many other editions that I prefer over those. It's just those are the ones that are available. Those are the ones often you can find at BAM that are not as expensive as like a Penguin edition or, one of these, which is actually a subsidiary of Penguin. And like I said, it's the way, and it's also, I think this is the a paperback version of the cloth bound, so it's a way to get the same cover in the cloth bounds, but they're paperback and less risk of damaging them. I mean, I still love the cloth bounds and I will still buy them and use them to read, because like I said, I don't have the shelf space for having multiple copies of books. And I mean, maybe one day I'll have multiple copies of my my favorite. Like, actually, it's I remember I remember one of the love interest, April, she has multiple copies of Jane Eyre. It's her friend, which is one of my favorite classics. And it was because it was the last gift her dad gave to her before he passed away, before he died. So she has all these different copies. And there was this really sweet moment where Ryan Reynolds' character gives her a copy finds the exact copy with her dad's copy, the one he got her. He's able to find it. And he gave it to her as a gift. So, which I think was really, that's what you do for a reader. Give them a book, a special book. But yeah, I love these Penguin English Library editions. And maybe I'd probably get more of these ones than the cloth bound, because at least these are, less risk of damaging them, and I could take them with me places. But at least I can't have multiple copies. I don't have the space for multiple copies, so. And it's not like some of these Penguins I'm not gonna have. Some of them I'm not gonna have read them all the time to the point where I'm always holding them or something. But I want to read it. Because that always happens when I buy a new book. Now I want to read it as soon as I buy it, And then the last one is, so I've heard a lot about this. This is a great fantasy author, that he's more of an older fantasy author, and that is Tad Williams. This is the first book in in the, what's the series called? The Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn series. This is the first book the Dragon Bone share. So I was like, you know what, let me get it there. Because I love the UK covers. Sometimes I love them better than our covers. Most of the time I do. I mean, they always have better covers than we not. Well, not always. Sometimes, like, I prefer our covers for Naomi Novek's the Uprooted and Spinning Silver books. I like our covers better. I like that aesthetic, and you know, the darker colorings of those. So, you know, on occasion I do lean towards ours, the US covers, but oftentimes I like the UK cover. So I was excited just to be able to buy UK covers, so not just to go to Waterstones, which is 5 levels, by the way. I mean, I almost wish Barnes & Noble was that big. I've only ever seen a Barnes & Noble with like 2 levels. I've never seen it more than, I don't think I've ever seen a Barnes & Noble with more than 1 level. It's either going, you know, big this way, or there's a second floor in Barnes & Nobles. In Barnes & Noble, wow, Waterstones apparently has 5 floors. Which was really, that was really cool. But anyway, like, I forgot, and there's actually a blurb from George R. Martin saying this is one of his favorite fantasy series. Okay, just my activity. It's raining, so I can't go for a walk this morning. But which is fine because I'm still tired, and like I said, I'm starting to feel sick. So it's, you know, it's fine. I mean, and then when I go to work tomorrow, I'll be, you know, pushing the carts for an hour. So unless they don't put me out there. But yeah, I thought this was, you know, and I like this sword. The sword image on the cover. I mean, I know they're cliche, and you know, but I always like the covers with weapons. Like, I like John Gwynn's covers for the Faithful and the Fallen series. I think those are really cool with the weapon on different weapon on each book. But yeah, I was like, I'm gonna get at least 1 or 2, you know, books with UK covers, and like I said, I want to collect the Penguin English Library editions. And then I want to get this one. And, you know, it's, like, sometimes it's so much easier just to get them, like, at the store than risk buying them online, because sometimes there's no guarantee it's going to be there. Like, thrift books, especially. Like, the used bookshops online, there's no guarantee you're going to get the edition you want. Amazon, maybe. I know people take issue with Amazon, but, I mean, I think Barnes & Noble has those, so I could always, you know, next time I go to Barnes & Noble, I could buy another one like that. Which I think that'd be really cool. Barnes & Noble started selling UK covers for, like, at least some special books, but I think only the Penguin English Library books. Like, maybe some of the, like if they gave you that option, that would be cool. But let's see, what is this about? Okay, again, so it has an element of the, you know, the average boy is from a small town, is not, you know, starts as not being special, but then you realize he is special. Kitchen boy and sorcerer's apprentice, Simon dreams of great deeds and heroic wars. He does not know that his dreams are about to become horrifyingly real. In Austin Ard, the human king is dead, and when the Storm King seeks to regain his lost realm, a long dormant evil is unleashed, poisoning the land. Only a scattered group, the League of the Scroll, recognizes the danger. Only they know of the riddle of the long-lost swords of power. Their one small hope of salvation, and to Simon, swords of power, their one small hope for salvation, and to Simon falls the search for the riddle's solution. And Christopher Paolini, the guy who wrote the I cannot remember what it's called, just that Dragon series. He wrote it when he was 15. He started writing when he was 15. The Inheritance Cycle author. He blurbed it. As skilled as J.R.R. Tolkien and Frank Herbert. Patrick Rothfuss also blurbed it. Groundbreaking, changed how people thought of the genre. So yeah, I am excited to read this too. Anyway, so if you want to get a look at a better look at the Waterstones bag, tote bag. It's really And then they have another one like this that is it's black instead of red. I wanted to get the red one because I'm always for color, at least a little bit of color. So I did start. I finished the fall. So while we were on the trip, I finished the fall prequel because they offered that to be downloaded for free. If you subscribe to the Ryan Cahill newsletter. So I got the fall. That kind of sets up how things started where they are in the beginning of the main book of Blood and Fire. So, I don't think it will, make things too confusing if you don't read it, but it does give you some history of what happened, how the world that Ryan Cahill created is where it is in A Blood and Fire. Or I don't know if it's A Blood and Fire or Fire and Blood. I always get that mixed up because it's similar to the title by George R. Martin's book about the Targaryens. So I have to be careful when I do search for the book, because sometimes they come up with George R. Martin's book or other books that have similar titles. So I finished that, and then I did start reading the first book in the Bound and the Broken series. Like I said, I don't know if it's Of Fire and Blood or Of Blood and Fire. I started reading that one. I got to chapter 5. I think 5 or 6. But the fall was really cool. I liked it. It wasn't an all-time favorite, but it was a good way to explain where the characters are right now, to kind of the history and how they ended up the way it is in the first book. So, and that's all I read. I didn't attempt to read the books I bought before, but I just stuck to the Kindle. But I didn't, as my uncle said, he was right. I didn't spend as much time with reading, because by the time I get back to the hotel, I'm tired. And even on the plane, I was tired. I read only a little bit. Enough to, like I said, finish the prequel book, The Fall. And, but I didn't read a lot. But, which is not a surprise, because, you're in this big, famous city with so much to see, so much to look at, and we were walking around. We weren't driving, we weren't in a car. So we were just walking around and exploring, and it would still be, it's not like I can walk and read at the same time unless I had an audiobook. Even then, that could be dangerous too, because if you can't hear the traffic when you're walking, but that, so I didn't do it. So like I said, I didn't do a lot of reading. When we were traveling, doing our tours, I tried to read a little bit, but again, I kept, I was always so tired, went to sleep, because I would get up to do the tours. You got to get up early, and it takes a few days to adjust after jet lag. When I went to France, I fell asleep in the Louvre. That was the first thing we did. I feel like with this trip, I had already mentally prepared myself for this trip. I knew what I wanted to do, what I wanted to see. There was still, I still was following my dad's plan as well, but this was more for me. When we went to France, I didn't know what to, of course I knew about the tourist thing and like the Eiffel Tower and all that, but I didn't know everything. That was more, my sister was kind of, she was the one who we were following, because she was the one that visited there. She was the one that's studying abroad. So we mostly did what she had planned for us, what she recommended. So I feel like this trip was more personal for me than that trip. But I still want to go back to France, because I loved that trip. I want to go back to Paris and spend more time. I also want to go back to Venice, Italy, and or other parts like Rome. I would love to go where Rome's located. I would love to explore that a little bit. And if there's any sites we did, but yeah, that was, and I know my dad wants to take my mom to Portugal, and I'm assuming I'm included in that trip. I don't know, but at some point I know he wants to, because he loves Portugal. But yeah, there are so many. But anyway, I want to go back to England. I want to go back to England at some point. Anyway, so that is how London went. And that is all the stuff I got. Like I said, I didn't want to. Trying to be careful about buying things there because it's so it's more expensive there than the U.S. I'm so happy to say I went to Waterstones. I've heard so much about Waterstones. I finally got to go. Thankfully, my parents did let me spend a good amount of time there. I wish I could have spent a little bit more, but that's okay. Like, I would love to sit in the cafe and read and stuff, but like like I said, my parents were with me, and they weren't as excited about them as I was. So, and if you're gonna do a tour guide, try to do the Windsor, doing the Windsor Castle and Bath tour. I mean, unless you're really interested in Stonehenge, which it was cool. I'm glad I went to Stonehenge. I got to see it, but it is kind of underwhelming. It's not like, I guess because so many crazy conspiracy theories and movies about like Outlander, the Outlander book series show, where she goes back in time. There's so many things about Stonehenge that you wish you kind of get there and it's like, oh, that was cool, but that's it. I mean, unless you're just a big history buff, which I do love history. If you're just like, you might be a little disappointed by Stonehenge. So, and because we did Windsor, Stonehenge, and then Bath, we didn't spend as much time in either location as I would have liked. But yeah, so if you're doing a tour, like maybe you would do a private tour if you can afford it. Do a private tour, like with a driver and everything if you can. That might make things a little bit easier. You can spend more time, because that could have been also the reason we didn't get to spend a lot of time at Stonehenge to really take it all in. We just got some pictures. It was a really windy day, so we didn't get a lot. The picture, it was hard to take really good pictures. And my dad was trying to find one that is a good picture for like a Christmas card and everything. But anyway, so that is our trip to London. And maybe at some point I will update you guys on my reading. Right now I'm just starting to feel a little like woo right now, because like I said, I'm of course come home when I'm sick. So I'm gonna let you guys go. I hope you are enjoying your reading. Have any of you ever been to England, to London? I would love to know. Or if anyone I'm subscribed to is from there, I love your city. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Click subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell notification button below if you want to be notified about my latest videos. I hope you are currently enjoying your reading. I would love to know what you're reading right now. And I will talk to y'all later. Alright, bye!